Hello, and welcome to this week's segment. Searching for an apartment in downtown Pittsburgh. This can be challenging when you're on a budget. We are currently facing high inflation and high gas prices. How does a young professional navigate under these circumstances and stay on budget? I will discuss three areas that must be addressed in order to save cost. Those three areas are parking, apartment location, and resources and apartments. And staying within your budget when you're looking at specific apartments. So these key three things: parking, apartment location, and resources, and apartments within your budget. Let's get started. The first thing we will talk about is apartment choices. And within apartment choices, you're going to be looking at these three things: the range of prices, number of bedrooms that you might need, and the fees associated with a particular apartment building. So let's go over some key data, shall we? The average price of a neighborhood one bedroom in downtown Pittsburgh. Say you want to be closer to your job because your job is in the area. So the average price for a one bedroom is $1,683. And for a one bed, and a two bedroom might cost as high as $2,500 a month. And you might say, okay, what other data do you have? Well, the strip district for one bedroom is around $2,052. And for new construction in that district, it's $2,883 for higher end units. Then when you look at the North Shore, which is closer to the stadiums and the cultural district, they run around $1,800 to $1,900 for one bedroom. And on the south side, a one bedroom could cost you $1,767. On the higher end, for a two bedroom, is $2,164. And if you look in Uptown or the Oakland area, a one bedroom can run you $1,386 versus a two bedroom, which is $1,710. And these are usually closer to what the students would be searching for. That's the area the students might live in near the universities. And when you look at the older units, those could be cheaper. They may be 20 to 40% cheaper than say a new luxury unit, which can exceed averages by 30 to 60%. So when you're looking, be very diligent about how much something costs. Is it new or is it older? And these rent estimates I quoted you can be found online. So you want to look at if an apartment is professionally managed, how old the building is. All of these are key factors that increase the cost or decrease the cost. And what is your true budget and where do you fall? And typically in the summer, you have a higher increase in people looking for an apartment. So sometimes demand is higher, especially near the university. So you're going to want to look for incentives like 1 to 2 months free for the first or second month free for rent. So take your time, don't rush if you can, and look for incentives in the neighborhoods that you're interested in. And in Pittsburgh, they don't call them neighborhoods, they're districts or boroughs. Also, you might have fees for storage and fees for pets in apartments. You want to look at your utility costs, it could fluctuate. That's key to apartment buildings. And remember your income ratio rule when you're renting. It shouldn't be more than 30% of your income. But if you're looking at those higher end luxury apartments, you just might go over your budget, and might want to look at getting a roommate to help slash those costs. Okay, parking. Now, I do have experience with this in Pittsburgh. I have tried to park in many locations. Downtown is higher, and if there's an event, it could be $40 just to park in a garage. And it is $40 when there's an event because I did park in one of the garages near an apartment. You want to look at the distance from your apartment to your job and how much it's going to cost you to park in the garage or where you work, and parking at the garage where you live, and parking at the garage in a nearby place to your apartment could cost you $250 a month or $236 a month. Um, so you want to look at, okay, maybe I don't need a car. Maybe I could take public transit. See if you can find an apartment near the train line, and if possible, look at walkability. Maybe you need to find something closer to your job, an apartment that's closer. Also, like I said, when it comes to parking, there's hidden fees. It could easily run you exceed $300 a month in parking because that's a premium in Pittsburgh. So take the metro. The T line is similar to what we call the metro in DC, and look at cost savings around transportation. Also, another key area that I wanted to talk about is the location of your apartment and the resources near your apartment. Like I said, what district is the apartment located in? What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? So, if you like going out in the evenings and going to cultural events, that's like on the North Shore area. Do you need to be close to the grocery store, the bank, the dry cleaners to get your errands done? That's important. So, you definitely want to take that into account when you're looking for an apartment downtown in Pittsburgh. Now, what you also need to do is research the districts in Pittsburgh to see which one is the best fit for you. Just because it may seem glamorous, it may be loud at times, and you need to research that. And make sure your budget is a top priority before you set up apartment tours with all these different managers in downtown. And like I said before, public transit is very important to save money versus paying for parking to go to your job. So, like I said, those were your three key takeaways. And what I want you to do now is start right now inquiring with your friends who currently rent and see how much it costs for them. And then you can say, hey, can I afford this? Can I not afford this? Based on where my friends live. And if you are new to the area, use some online tools. Like there's apartment guides and other online apartment resources. A lot of people get reviews online about apartments. So there's no time better than the present to start going online because it does take time to go through all those reviews for different types of apartments, and people will tell you about their experiences. And this is very key to for you. Pull your own credit report so you can see your current financial situation because that's important when you are going to apply for an apartment for housing. Typically, I want to say housing or an apartment. When you're searching, you still have to fill out an application and you still need to have good credit. So, another key point is I don't want you to get caught up. Don't be one of those people who shows up without doing your research and then you realize you can't get an apartment because you waited until you got there at the last minute and you saw something online and it wasn't new data, it's probably old data, and they tell you that apartment is no longer available. And you have to settle or live in a neighborhood or district that is not your top choice and your top three choices. So please, please, please make sure you stay on top of that to avoid failure. And make sure you reach out to the apartment complexes and call them and set up a time to meet with them so you will be successful. And how, and since we're talking about success, once all of that is done and you have visited the different districts and talked to and done tours of your top three choices, all you have to do now is sit back and take a deep breath and say, hey, all I got to do is move in and start decorating my apartment. And it's just that easy. And yes, there are some obstacles, but if you do proper planning, you can afford to live in downtown Pittsburgh with proper planning. So, if you liked what I just presented today, please subscribe and click that like button. And there is more to come when it comes to cost savings, because that's my focus, how to save and in these times during inflation. So I'll be back with more. Please subscribe. Thank you.